So this first slide is basically the overview. It gives you the total of where the numbers come from. I just want to point out a couple issues here. The $71,977,817 figure is the total of all gross funds, including the federal funds and the food service. The general fund total, which is obviously of more interest to everyone since parts of this then get raised by taxation, is $68,737,908. The budget overall represents a 3.1% increase over the budget from the prior year. If you look in the column that says dollar change and percent change, you can see where the largest drivers are that resulted in the increase, and they are primarily in the 200 series, which is the benefits, and the largest single pieces of those are increases in health insurance of approximately $1.2 million, and retirement, which is based on a state formula, of approximately $135,000. There aren't any other significant major dollars. In the 500 series, you do see a 4.4% increase, primarily driven by some increases in our special education costs and some transportation costs, and we'll see those on a later slide. So the total budget change, this is not the tax impact, by the way, this is just the change in budget, 3.1 on the general fund and 2.9 overall. Each year the budget is starts with the school district, through the administration, through the school board, and then to the budget committee. The school board and the administration try and implement a budget based on goals that the school board adopts each year in late May or early June. I just want to walk through, as I have in past years, a few of these goals. Obviously, one of our main goals is to continue to improve delivery of all instruction, including non-traditional methods, with priority on literacy and mathematics instruction. How we have implemented some of that goal this year is through a budget that includes a new literacy specialist at our elementary level. Another goal that we have is to infuse technology into every aspect of how the school district operates and delivers services to students in the learning process, to teaching staff in the instructional process, and to the administrative staff in the way we do business, and to the community in the way we outreach and provide informational efforts. A couple items to stand out here. We continue to fund the upgrade of our technology equipment through a rolling lease purchase program, which we are continuing in the current budget. Also, Project Lead the Way, which is a district-wide initiative to move more science, technology, engineering, and math. You've all heard STEM as the key buzzword that we're using, but it's important. It is the way we are in the growth mindset, as the superintendent would frame it. And so we continue to fund the expansion of that program at all levels of our school district. We have obviously an ongoing capital goal to fund capital improvement renovations to all our district buildings in accordance with evaluations that we conduct of those buildings, recognizing that expenses are necessary as an ongoing budgetary expense if the investment that we've made in these buildings is to continue. There are some items in our 450 account. We are having to do Woodbury in a couple ways. The question came up during the discussion, well, aren't you thinking about renovating that building? Yes, we are, but it's not going to happen right away. And the stair treads and the door readers are a safety concern on 2 levels, and we simply can't compromise the safety or delay these necessary safety address issues, so we have put them into the next year's budget. We also are doing some parking lot seal coating to maintain them, and we are moving into the second phase of providing air conditioning to our libraries at the elementary level with North Salem Elementary for the library for an air conditioning unit. One of our non-capital goals that the board had when we set in the spring was to review our strategic plan. Our current strategic plan is about 5 to 6 years old. It has run out. All the objectives are gone beyond the time frame that's in the strategic plan. And so the board set this as a goal. The administration has supported that goal. The funds to renew the strategic plan and do a new strategic plan effort are in the budget, and that will start this fall, all things being approved. Another capital goal was to develop plans for the enhancement of Grant Field and the related athletic facilities with a goal of completion of the plans by the fall of 2018. Well, some plans don't come to fruition. As you probably know from seeing articles in the newspaper, we have received a study. We have some estimates on what that's going to cost. We simply weren't prepared to move forward with that initiative this year, given all that's going on and our desire to finish the renovations at Salem High School and to be cognizant of the investment that we're making on an ongoing basis to finish the construction. That item has been put on hold at least for a short while. The school board continues to study the issue. I expect we'll be hopefully back at this meeting a year from now with initiatives to begin making repairs to that facility in some fashion or another. There are many component parts. There's the field itself. There's the grandstands, which we've been told need to be addressed for safety concerns. There's the press box, which is in dangerously bad condition. And there's also the blockhouse and the concessions areas that we need to address. And all of those are in parts of reports that the superintendent has presented to the school board, and we will continue to look to see how we can address those. So a year-over-year comparison of our budget, the proposed budget, and now we're talking strictly the general fund, not the total with the federal funds and the food service. The budget, the general fund proposal is $68,737,908. That compares with last year's operating budget of $66,672,263, an increase of just over $2 million. But as I've indicated, there are a series of what are classified as fixed increases. Now, I understand that's a debatable term. Someone can say that something is or is not a fixed increase. But when we're talking about $1.4 million for additional health insurance pursuant to our existing contracts, when we're talking about changes in state law that require us to enhance our response for retirement funding, if we're talking about responding to the needs of our students with disabilities, we view those as fixed costs. The difference between those two is actually a reduction. The new programs that this budget has, approximately $280,000. Nearly a half of that, not quite, is some programming associated with the opening of the new CTE program here at Salem High School. We're very proud of the building that we're finishing up. And one of the new programs that we're bringing online is a cosmetology program. So that includes a new instructor for that program. It's a significant demand field, and we expect to have a full complement of students in that program when it opens this fall. So if you look on the next slide, here are some of those items in, quote, new programs. I mentioned the literacy specialist. I just spoke about the cosmetology instructor. There are, in this budget, a total of 2 new positions for custodians here at Salem High School. This brought on some investigation. Jack Messenheimer, our Director of Maintenance, made a persuasive demonstration of the workload for each of the staff that he has and projects with regard to their areas of responsibility in this building. Once this building is fully operational and built out in this coming fall, and the school board, first the superintendent and ultimately the school board, supported that, and we're grateful to the Budget Committee for their support for those positions. There are some significant increases outside of new programs. I did mention health insurance, retirement, workers' comp. Again, those are all, in the case of retirement and workers' comp, statutory, and health insurance is contractual. We do have a new bus contract, or renewed bus contract. After trying to investigate what our options are, we renewed our bus contract, and there is an increase in transportation costs for the district students. I mentioned the additional expenses associated with our students with disabilities. These are primarily what we classify as out-of-district placements. These are students whose needs are so great that we simply don't accommodate them here within our district. They need the specialized care that requires us to send these students outside the district. And that is increasing over $330,000 in the next budget. In most cases, these are all students who are currently identified and will continue in placement. Those costs are what they are. Propane, the heating fuel for propane is up approximately $67,000. So that totals almost $2 million in what are classified as significant increases. There are a few decreases, and the one that's obviously most rewarding at the moment is the decrease in the interest on debt, because we have, after issuing the last of the high school bonds, in last year's budget was the high water mark. We are now trending down on all of our bonds, and we'll continue to see decreases in interest on debt until the next bond is issued, and when the district will support that. So at the moment, we are in a declining scenario with interest on debt. We want to highlight income and revenue to the district. This slide does so, and one of the reasons this slide is here is I call your attention to the yellow highlight, and there's a couple items I want to call your attention to on this slide. I'm sure you've all heard of some of the issues that we've had with respect to the construction project here at Salem High School as it relates to the discovered compromise of some of the building components that were uncovered as a result of the renovations. And the district was facing a considerable additional expense to deal with that. Fortunately, in its foresight, the school board had put away some money in a contingency fund from years gone by when we had surpluses. And so there was money already available in a contingency fund for us to spend with the permission of the Budget Committee, which we received, and we are grateful for their support, and with the approval of the Commissioner on Education, which we received. In addition, the state had a grant program available for monies for what they classified as safety improvements or otherwise to enhance facilities. And the administration was successful in pursuing a grant of $300,000 that will help offset the monies that we're going to need to appropriate in the budget that you're adopting, which had the effect of significantly, well, I won't say significantly, but had the effect of reducing to a marked degree the tax impact of next year's budget. And so thanks go to the superintendent, to the assistant superintendent for business operations, who investigated this grant, put together the information necessary, and secured the $300,000 grant. On the downside, you can see that our state adequacy grant has been reduced. That was, I won't say not unexpected, but was not especially good news. And frankly, the reason that is because our community, from a state standpoint, is relatively prosperous. We know this, you know that. From a tax-based standpoint, Salem continues to have a strong tax base, and as a result, the formula that works out for adequacy essentially lowers the amount Salem receives because of the tax base that we have to which to support taxation. So we did see a reduction in the state adequacy grant. So now looking at a summary of where we are with the general fund. The general fund budget is the $68,737,908. After taking out some of those income items, including that $300,000 that we mentioned, the amount that we must raise at the community level, the so-called district assessment, is $59,975,756. Making a comparison to this year's taxes and making a reasonable projection as to the expansion of our tax base as of April 1, 2018, the expectation is that the tax rate change will be 26.1 cents for this budget, or an impact of 1.98%, so just under 2% for the general fund. Now that's the general fund budget, just under 2%. So the budget itself was up 3.1. but the tax impact, because of revenue, because of expansion of our tax base, and because of the grants that we received, the tax impact for the budget itself is under 2%. And finally, because we get the question, we might as well answer the question. And that is, well, what's the impact with the roll-up of both the budget and the warrant article? And as you know, there's only one article to follow the budget, and that's our SCA contract. All of our other contracts are already in the budget. All of the other units, whatever raises those units are to receive, they are already in that 3.1% number. They're already in that tax impact of less than 2. The SEA is the only other unit that has a separate contract. That's the next article we'll be discussing. If both of those, both the budget and that article, were to be approved, the total tax impact is projected to be 3.78%.
Article 3 includes the cost items for the agreement that was reached between the Salem School Board and the Salem Education Association. Members of this bargaining group include our professional employees whose positions requires a certification by the State Board of Education. Our classroom teachers, nurses, speech and language pathologists, ROTC instructors, guidance counselors, psychologists, specialists in assessment of intellectual functioning, home school counselors, vision specialists, ESOL specialists, certified occupational therapists, certified occupational therapy assistants, and certified speech therapy assistants. This is a very large bargaining group of 327 members. As you can see from the slide, the financial breakdowns of the article, this is a 3-year contract. Changes to the contract include, under Article 4, Workday, we have upgraded or updated the language to give more flexibility. Should there be an 8-period day at the high school, teachers can be assigned to teach up to 6 periods. In addition to our full-day kindergarten teachers and grades 1 through 5 teachers, they'll have a planning period when their students are attending art, music, physical education, and library. Article 12, health insurance. The district insurance contributions were adjusted so that the 2 of the 3 highest cost plans will remain at the 2017-18 rates, and the 3rd plan will remain at the 2017-18 rate after the 1st year of the contract. This means the staff keeping a higher cost plan will be financially responsible for a higher percentage of the plan. In addition to the health insurance buyout for a teacher not taking the insurance plan changed from $500 to $750. Article 13, compensation. Members of the Salem Education Association will receive a 1-step per year, with the exception of teachers currently following a directed expectation plan. Those individuals will not move forward on the step scale. Article 15, retirement. Nurses will now be eligible for the retirement benefits. Article 18, teachers' rights. Language regarding a complainant was modified. Article 22, duration. The agreement is a 3-year contract which runs through 2020 to 2021. Appendix B, that is our extracurricular activities. We added several extracurricular positions, and we also removed some in the contract. Also, if the position is shared, the longevity stipend will be prorated. Appendix C, which is the salary schedule. This tentative agreement includes a 2.25 increase for each of the year of the 3-year agreement. Certified occupational therapy assistants and speech therapy assistants with a bachelor's degree will be paid under the bachelor scale of Bachelor of Nurse let me repeat that, I'm sorry. Certified occupational therapy assistants and speech therapy assistants with a bachelor's degree will be paid under the Bachelor of Science in the nurse's pay scale. You'll be voting on a 3-year contract, and the estimated impact for the 2018-19 year is 0.237, which is a 1.80% increase. Thank you.